No matter how long you've been playing or what skill level you're at, I think every single golfer has asked themselves, what's the fastest way for me to actually get better at golf? There's a very common and honestly logical way to go about this. You obsess. You read all the forums, you watch every single Instagram reel, you watch all the YouTube videos, you hire a coach, you hit hundreds of balls, you roll hundreds of putts, and you go all in. And that route can seem very complicated, but quite frankly, it's not. You just treat golf like it's your job, and eventually you'll probably improve. But here's the problem. You unfortunately will pay a price for going that route. You'll build this beautiful practice swing that looks great on the range and then just falls apart on the first tee. And I wish I could tell you this is just a theory, but unfortunately I've got some experience with this. So I had a college teammate literally tell me to stop practicing. And I felt at this point in my college career kind of backed into a corner. I still went and practiced that night. I probably went at 11 p.m. over to the practice facility and hit balls, and I didn't get better because of that. But what I do remember is being really frustrated. I was a generationally bad driver of the golf ball in college, if you will. I didn't know how to fix it. So I thought by pounding more balls and being the hardest worker in the room, that was the solution. And all that really did was make me an elite golfer on GC quad. And I didn't actually get functionally better on the golf course. There was a week my junior year that I just spent trying to figure out how far my clubs went, which meant I spent 7 practice sessions hitting 30 balls at least with each club in my bag, just full swings. I don't even know how often I had those numbers in that spring. I probably had it, a dozen times, like the perfect yardage. So those dispersion patterns made no sense for 2 reasons. One, how often do I run into that shot? And number 2, is that really my dispersion pattern if I'm just grooving the same swing over and over again? I was simply practicing to be better at practicing, not to be better at golf. This swing, while it looks perfect in a slow-mo video, won't be able to adapt to on-course conditions. And because you haven't built up the skill of handling pressure or solving different problems, well, now you're just going to fall apart when those things actually hit you on the course. Well, human nature is going to tell you, well, I guess I just got to work harder. I got to go back. I got to hit more balls. I got to change my swing. I got to do this to make it look perfect, because if it looks perfect, if I look like Adam Scott, well, then I'm eventually going to score like him. When in reality, you're just perpetuating that cycle of hitting balls, looking pretty, going to the course, scoring poorly, getting frustrated, hitting balls, and so on and so forth. So is fast improvement realistic? First, fast is relative for every single golfer. That speed that you improve at fully relies on your ability to build skills that you can repeat on the course that actually help you score better. Human nature is to go hit a bunch of balls and call it a day and think you got better. If I shoot a bunch of free throws, naturally I get better at free throws. So if I hit a bunch of irons in a row, am I going to get better at hitting irons? In a 2017 study, there was a group of golfers split into 2. One was just going to practice with random practice, and the other was going to just practice with block practice. During the first session, that block practice group started to look like pros. They made more putts, and the more putts that they made, the more confident they got. Whereas the random group was missing more often and losing confidence. Just 1 week later, they bring those groups back to do a little retention test, and that random group far exceeded the blocked group. What you can infer from this is that blocked practice tends to create false confidence. Let me ask you a question. What's 9 times 7? Okay, now what's 9 times 7? Great. What's 9 times 7? Okay. Are you getting better at math? No, you're just getting better at solving the same problem because you already solved it. And this is kind of what happens with golfers is we go to the driving range, we hit 39 irons in a row, all to the same target, and when we get out on the course, we have no clue how to solve different problems every single time. You get 1 shot to solve that problem on course. And if you can't solve that problem right the first time, well, there could be catastrophic consequences for you failing to solve the problem correctly. So our practice needs to be structured in a way where we're solving problems constantly and just getting good at solving random problems. With one small exception for driver, we'll get there later. So for those of us with a 9 to 5, this just means we have to be very strategic with how we prioritize our practice. You really don't want to be a well-rounded golfer. In theory, you really just need to be elite at 3 things. Keep the ball in play off the tee, hit a bunch of greens, and have elite speed control on those greens. So going back to what doesn't need to be random, off the tee, if we can just hit 1 shot and keep it in play and trust it, that's awesome. We do not need to treat driver like it's an iron. You are hitting 1 shot with a tee. You don't need to mess with random there. So I really don't care what that shot shape is. It just has to be repeatable. Moving to number 2, statistically, approach play is the highest weighted strokes gained category out of them all, for every single skill level. So if you can raise your floor with your approach play, your scores are going to drop. And speed control is crucial to a couple different things. Number one, just straight up not three putting. If you can roll it to a foot from 60 feet, you're going to be sitting pretty. And number two, when we do get to those holing distances inside of, say, 10 feet, your speed actually does play a very important key in how big that cup is to the ball as it's going by. If that ball is moving really quickly, it's going to have a harder time capturing the cup, whereas if it's moving at the right pace, you're going to be able to drop a lot more putts. Odds are you're probably in that obsession pool because you're watching a YouTube video on how to practice golf. So here's 3 key building blocks that you can integrate moving forward. Number 1, stop hitting the same shot 2 times in a row, with 2 small exceptions. Number 1, if you're working on a swing change with an instructor, absolutely. And number 2, off the tee, like we said, we want to be just free throw merchants. We want to be able to hit the same shot every single time and rely on it every single time. But outside of those 2 scenarios, do not hit the same shot twice. Number 2, go through your full routine. This may seem like a really simple step, but if you don't go through your routine while you're practicing, a routine on the course is actually going to be different than what you practiced. And all that practice then ends up being not relevant to how you're playing, which is how we got into this whole cycle in the first place. And number 3, sign up for Play Ready Golf. Now this is a plug and it's shameless, all right? We've been working on it for months, but what we're doing is we're taking the skill level that you're currently at, the amount of time you have, and the practice facilities that you have access to, and we're building you a practice plan based on those categories. We have a few spots left in our beta test on January 1st. Those testers are getting free lifetime access, and then we'll be launching sometime late March. So let's say you decide to go down the obsession rabbit hole, even after watching this. Here's what's probably going to happen. You're going to spend 3 to 6 months obsessing, and maybe you'll see small improvements here or there, but eventually you're probably going to get burnt out like I did, and you're going to end up with a very pretty swing on video that is not functional on course. But if you decide to take the route of random practice and practicing like you want to go play, yeah, you're going to fail a bunch more on the range, and that's going to kind of suck for a while, to be completely honest. But you learn so much more from failing than you do succeeding. And once that random practice becomes integrated into your routine, you're going to be stepping onto that first tee feeling confident. You're going to be solving problems on the course by being confident, and you're going to understand your tendencies under pressure. At the end of the day, this is all a game, and the goal is to have fun. But I also think that playing good golf is fun. So don't rush the process. Enjoy it. Comment down below if you got any questions. We'll see you next time.